Welcome to Redacted Party Chat, Case 17, with your host, me, Vaughn. Let's get this rodeo started. Adrian, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Alrighty?
That's all I got, man.
That's fair.
That's it. Yeah. No.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Just trying to.
You answered my question, so I can't say anything.
I want to retain as little sanity as possible. I obviously want to know how you're doing as well, but I was going to save that. Make you take it around town and bring it back to you to finish that up. But I'm all in all, I am alive. I am kicking. I am Rogaldorn, son of the Emperor, defiant, so unrelenting. So go,
Brandyn. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I can't complain. I have been playing some stuff. I know we've kind of changed it up a little bit because we were in a little bit of a lull period, but I've actually been playing a decent amount of stuff. I don't know if you guys want to chop it up about that a little bit, but
Go for it.
no problem if not. But I want to know how you guys are doing or how you're doing before we get into all that.
I'm doing okay. Better after the fantastic show yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean the state of play. So we'll talk more about that in one of our topics. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into that. Dude, I've been bouncing around a lot of games, but I've been in this like weird asymmetric multiplayer kind of vibe. So I've been playing Predator, Texas Chainsaw, a little bit of Dead by Daylight. Bounce around those. And then I got Nioh 3. And I dabbled in Nioh 1. I played a decent amount of Nioh 2. I didn't get deep by any stretch, but I was enjoying it. And, then Monster Hunter came out and it was a wrap for Nioh. Nioh 3 is like super clicking with me. I think it's extremely fun. And it's kind of insane. It's on a design front, it's kind of unbelievable, and I'm not really too deep into it. The combat is, if you play Nioh, the general, or Team Ninja games in general, it's super fast. Blink and you die. So that is still very much the core of it. But your key pulse is only on your samurai side, and then you hit R2 and you just very fluidly will transform into a ninja. And now you're straight up doing Devil May Cry enemy step jumps. Jump, attack, bounce off them, throw Ninja Star, come in, boom, jump off, like your style. It's a Devil May Cry game. Nioh 3 being a Devil May Cry game was not on my bingo card this year. It is scratching such a very specific itch with that Devil May Cry fan in me. Crazy fun. And there's just Sekiro parrying, and it feels really good. It's not like, I feel like a lot of games will do the Sekiro parrying and you'll do it, but it doesn't have like the impact that Sekiro does, where it's like boom, boom. They kind of it does that in this. You're really getting sent back and sending them back, and it's cool, man. And I think artistically it's a much bigger jump because now it's basically structured like Elden Ring. There's big open fields that lead to areas that are castles or whatever.
But it said it was open zone, not open world, right?
Yeah, and so me and Nate are just running around, slaughtering stuff together. Diablo loot drops, all that stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. But it's just I feel like that was always my issue I had with specifically Nioh 1 is I just thought it was kind of ugly. I never really liked the look of it. 2, it got better. The monsters looked a lot better, but the environments were still This one it looks good. It looks really, really cool, really unique. And now you have double jumps and all this, so you're actually kind of doing a little bit of platforming, and it's really cool from what I've played so far. I'm taking it.
It seems like almost a natural progression for the ninja-esque stuff to lean more into their Ninja Gaiden roots. Because a lot of that stuff is stuff that you're seeing in Ninja Gaiden, even though I think they have by far one of the coolest parries in any game in those games. Yeah. It's like it's it's not like the parry systems you see now, where it's like you're either knocking down a meter or like how Dark Souls you parry and then like immediately punish. It was just like when you parried, he immediately countered and like fucking did like a slash through everybody in the immediate vicinity. And
that's a move you can unlock in this.
I was just gonna say, I hope they have
cool.
that in here, because that was literally bouncing between enemies, because it's like counter, and you're just chopping everybody down like holy shit. Or jumping off someone's head and then coming down with like a two-handed slash. Like
I saw the Azuna drops in there too, so you can unlock that. I'm pretty sure you could just straight up make Ryu Hayabusa.
Rise of the Ronin had some of those things that you're describing as well. It had more forms that you could switch to on the fly, so it's relieving to hear that they kind of knocked it down to just two, because it was overwhelming in Rise of the Ronin, because you had weapons based on each of those skills in itself. So
right. I also think it just plays. I don't know if it's because I got comfortable with 2, so now I understand, and I was like maybe struggling with 1 and 2 more or something. But I mean, I'm still getting whooped. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely am seeing it better and flowing with it better, and because they have like little things where when you're in ninja form, if you do back attacks, it does more damage, and then samurai attacks to the front do more damage. So the ninja form doesn't have a key pulse. Your stamina is regenerating really fast, but when you press that R1, he basically does like a shadow teleport, so you can just instantly get behind somebody. So you can start doing your ninja stuff, teleport in front of them, and then turn into a samurai and start parrying them like Sekiro. It just has such an aggressive flow to it, dude.
So did they eliminate like backstab mechanics and stuff for?
Yeah, I don't think you can. If you stealth them, you can do a backstab, but you can't do it like Dark Souls where you get behind them and do that. I'm trying to think if there's. I'm still pretty early in, but dude, just in the first few hours, it just kind of keeps circling back to this where I'm just like, FromSoft, man, y'all gotta up your game on your combat. You just do, man. You just do. Especially that Lord. I don't know if I sent you guys the Lords of the Fallen 2 stuff. They finally showed a little bit of gameplay, and it's like, this looks so good, dude. This looks so heavy and chunky and visceral. But outside of that, Predator Hunting Grounds is way better than it has any business to be. I got it for like $3. So I mean, I bought lunch for more than that the other day.
You can't beat that.
No. Yeah, I was going in for the Predator and ended up falling in love with the human side, but the Predator side is still sick. Another thing wasn't in my bingo card. I think I'm gonna make some Predator clips, because I've had like straight up cinematic moments in that where I'm like, that was genuinely really cool, dude. Like I kind of want to make that a clip. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then check out the first episode of Redacted Tactics. That is live. Just wanted to capture the whole vibe of us all playing. Action starts about 12 minutes in. If you're goldfish type like myself.
Increase your attention span, please. It's good for you. I'm not just saying it for our sake. It's good for you.
Yeah.
It's Hunt Showdown. I don't know if you said what it was, but yeah, it's Hunt Showdown.
Went on a generational run. I'll probably never do that again. I don't think I've gotten a kill since then, but I'll take it. It's like beating the dude in a fighting game who beats you all the time. You win one time, you're like, bro, I ain't even playing again. It's good.
I say it all the time, and especially in this situation, it's applicable. People are like, oh, you'll never do that again. I'm like, I don't have to. Don't have to. And now, in this specific scenario, it's recorded for all time. I don't.
As far as anybody knows, that was the last time I ever played Hunt. So
yeah, so doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get those out there.
I did Platinum Cairn. It's a climbing game, very similar to Jasant, if you have played that or heard of that. This one's more, I hesitate to say QWOP-like, and by that I mean as you're climbing, you control each arm and each leg, but it's one at a time. So you're choosing where to grab on the wall itself, and then from there you use the next one. It was surprisingly emotional. I'll have more to say on it probably next week because I wanna finish one more thing before I dive too deep into it. But I did pick up Romeo's a Dead Man. So.
Oh yeah,
I am excited to see more stuff on that. That one, that was one of the ones that really stuck out to me. That I was like, and I love Suda, so
yeah, I haven't booted it up yet, so I'll probably do that this weekend, hopefully. Don't watch the trailer on the store because it is. Well, watch it because it's insane, but don't watch it expecting to know what the hell is going on because it doesn't tell you anything.
it's a Suda game. You don't know what's going on, even if you.
It might even push you away from it because it's so fucking weird. But yeah, I'll talk more about that next recording. All right. Before we jump into the topics, the usual socials on the screen. Follow that link, scan the code, check out our link tree. We got a bunch of cool stuff on there. Countdowns, links to all our socials. A bunch of games releasing on the second page. We are continuing our Resident Evil marathon this Saturday, which will be Valentine's Day, will be the end of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Brandyn is playing that in VR. He said he's going to finish it or die, so one of two things will happen.
One of those are going to happen, definitively.
He's a man of his word.
After that, the following weekend, I will power through 7, and then Adrian will be playing 8 the day after 9 releases, if the schedule goes to plan. So,
I'm excited.
Check it out. The streams have been a lot of fun lately. We appreciate everyone that's joined those. Great community growing so far. If you want to join it, follow us. You'll know when. Alrighty.
There's always 2 of us on in the wings too, so you don't have to worry about if you are someone that does enjoy streams. You don't have to worry about just kind of plugging into the ether. We have pretty essentially personal interactions with everybody. Try to keep up on everybody, respond to everybody, and make everybody feel welcome.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Everyone good? Ready for the first topic?
Let me throw one thing out there. Dylan, he responded on our last podcast with kind of clarification on what he kind of meant. We did address more of it in the last Resident Evil stream, Dylan. So kind of, I think it's when we're fighting the bugs. So if you skim through and find when I'm fighting the bugs, we bring it up, and Vaughn kind of goes a little bit more in detail with each point you were posting. Yeah,
part 3, it's all within the first half of that. So if you start it, then you'll definitely hear pretty much all of it. So
I unfortunately was absent, so there probably won't be anything of value there. But fucking. Yeah, let's try it out, see what they got.
It was all Vaughn. I didn't say anything. I was fighting bugs.
I like that you were immediately like, it's because I was there. I swear I was not involved, so it's
On that depressing note, let's jump into the first topic. Okay. This one is Brandyn. So it is, do you think there can be an amount of entries in a franchise before it inevitably becomes stale or needs to reinvent? Then, is it genre dependent? If it does reinvent, why not just call it something new? How about you kick us off, Daddy-O?
This can go a lot of different ways. Because there are the games that I feel make it a sin in the sense of Assassin's Creed, let's just say. So I am forever a proponent that Unity is the best one. Yes, it launched with bugs and blah, 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 but gameplay-wise and as far as Assassin Fantasy with co-op and scale and graphics and animation, Unity's the best Assassin's Creed. They immediately lost the plot and turned it into a role-playing game. And those games did great. However, it divided the fan base forever. Sorry, these monsters make me burp. But that being said, they are good games. However, they're not Assassin's Creed games. So I think me and Adrian have talked about this in the past. It's like, yes, you are doing assassin stuff technically, and yes, you are tying it to these characters story-wise, but this isn't an Assassin's Creed game. This is a open world action adventure, like not in the sense that AC used to be, to where it was always like, why don't you just call this something else?
Right, it loses like the soul of what it initially was. Like
Right.
you assassinate somebody in the game, like you are still assassinating people, but it has taken such a departure from its original, like ethos.
Especially, and it's funny too because you can see them kind of backpedaling and dipping a toe here and dipping a toe there. Like AC Valhalla, they ended up updating it to where you could do insta kills with the blade, which I appreciate all that for sure. That's how I like to play Valhalla. I try to make it as realistic as possible because there's just something super stupid to me of playing Assassin's Creed and getting, numbers above their head. It's like, it's why I never liked The Division. I wanted to love The Division, but there's just something so lame about, dude, this military sim looking game or like this super realistic looking game, but you have health bars above your head. And it's like, I'm hitting you with a machine gun and it's like, oh, sorry, my gun's not a high enough level. Like,
that one was almost and actually we're seeing a lot more of that kind of stuff now. With like the God of War games and stuff like that, where it's like
it's in Control Resonant.
Yeah, Gotham was it the Gotham Knights started doing that as well, where I went from the Batman. So I don't know, that's just a weird industry thing that they've been doing, but it hasn't been really playing out in their favor.
Don't they have health bars in Control One? I think they do.
No, they have health bars, but like the
numbers,
the equipment level thing. So it's like,
and
like, yeah.
For what it's worth, it's not to defend Control like a simp that I am. It's Control is fantasy though. It's like, and Control was always fantasy, and Alan Wake and all that stuff is always, you're always dealing with eldritch terrors or otherworldly things. Assassin's Creed started out realistic and was always realistic, and then they just flipped hard. And it's not to call Assassin's Creed out solely because I think Battlefield lost its identity for a while. They could have called that something else. Like 2042 is a great example. That is a really cool, fun game. It is not a Battlefield game. It just isn't. Like, people are doing hog wild, crazy wingsuit, double backflip, hijack the plane. Like, that stuff's cool. It's also goofy. Like, I wish you had called this something else. Far Cry lost its identity completely, in my opinion. Like, it went from jungle man trying to survive, these psychopaths, to now there's a alligator with an eye patch and a leather jacket and a wheelchair. It's like, what are we even doing here? And then last point, and I'll let you guys kind of take over. However, you have stuff like Resident Evil. That kills it. Each one is different, and they're all good in their own way. Final Fantasy. Each one is good in their own way, and they're all usually really different. I'm like, my question isn't really for me to make a point so much as to truly ask the question. Like Yakuza. There's 100 Yakuzas. People seem to love them. I don't know how much they're changing. I don't know why you would need to change the name from Yakuza. What makes it fall into the Yakuza thing? But I'm just more so, I'm curious what you guys kind of think of this, because overall, I would say like a trilogy and then move on. Trilogy seems to be solid, and then it's like, put it to rest.
And my Control bring up was mainly just to elaborate on how the industry is doing the same thing with different genres of games, like Adrian was bringing up.
Yeah,
because I noticed that in the Control Resonant gameplay that they had not only health bars, but as you were hitting them, it was giving you a number of how much damage was being done. So that is a popular mechanic.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. But just, I guess, to clarify, it's like the equipment type of thing, like like the Division did that. Like you couldn't start off with like a base weapon and then progress through the game. It's like, I don't care if I have the same like basic, like if I have a set amount of equipment and maybe some unlockables, and then you can upgrade them as time goes on. Because it's like I I mean, technically everything has like a invisible health bar, even in games where there is no health bar. So it's like Castlevania is a good example, and that's actually on my list of stuff. It's like, yeah, it's not the health numbers and stuff that bothers me or that bothers a lot of people. It's the whole, you went from the Dark Knight, and you're beating the hell out of people. You feel like Batman, and you're kicking the hell out of thugs and villains and stuff. And then it's like, you're Nightwing, but you don't have the level 12 batons. So now you can't hurt this random street thug. It's like
super stupid.
Like that's incredibly. I hate that kind of thing.
The
so
gear,
ruined Ragnarok, dude.
The gear
Right.
level and light
Right.
level type thing.
Yeah,
Stupid.
that's the kind of thing that I really like. It's like, especially when it gets to that point, I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Because this most certainly is not a Arkham game anymore. I guess to answer the question directly,
Yeah.
I don't think there's so much it's really dependent. All right, I'll say that. It's really dependent, and then you do get to a point where I feel like you're splitting hairs. So I have some examples here. So it's like the Metroid games. Like the Metroid games, I would say inherently no. There's not a number of entries you could have before the game gets stale. Metroid games and Castlevania games both, they have, I think, one of the biggest things in that for me that determines that is the narrative. A game with a relatively compelling narrative has much greater staying power than I think games that like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla games and stuff like that, where it's like, I didn't really think they had any real connection to the overarching Castlevania thing, like not Castlevania, overall Assassin's Creed storyline. But like, look at all the Castlevania games, and yes, some of them are deemed non-canon, but like they all had, as different as many of them are, they all tied into the narrative, and they all furthered the story and lore of it. And personally, I think that's one of the things. It's like, so long as the game holds the soul, so to speak, of the franchise and is continuing the narrative, you can have as many entries as you want. And I don't think you need a whole ton of reinvention. You just need a solid gameplay loop. And I think that's another problem that a lot of these have, is that they feel the need to reinvent, like God of War. I don't know why they did. I really don't. I feel like the original God of War gameplay loop was pretty solid. Just, keep it going. But like, an example I could give is like Call of Duty. Those games to me, a lot of them are incredibly stale. I haven't played a new Call of Duty game in a long, long time. And it's like, I'm totally fine with a first person action, cinematic shooter. I'm totally fine with that. I feel like those games would be better if they just focused on the narrative of the game and they focused less on adding new mechanics to the game. I feel like those games would benefit from, because if you look at the Black Ops games, those games are fucking ridiculous and stupid. Like, I at least in my opinion, like I was like watching the campaigns, and it's like, they're adding almost borderline supernatural elements to it, and it's like, this story is a mess. Like, you are trying so hard to think outside the box, and that's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it has stagnated to the point where they feel like they need to do ridiculous shit just to keep it relevant. But I don't know if that's so much out of a necessity for that to happen, for that game to be relevant, or it's they ran out of ideas. You know what I mean? I can't say because they ran out of ideas, there wasn't a good narrative that somebody could have put in place to avoid this silliness that we're talking about. I'm not even going to bother with like the multiplayer aspect of it, because it's like, that's a multiplayer aspect of a game. I feel like that, in terms of like whether or not a IP is stale, if you're exclusively there for the multiplayer, that's a whole different topic almost, in my opinion. Because multiplayer, there is some level of reinvention that you have to do to keep that game relevant. I mean, look at like Overwatch, and like the Overwatch 2, they even went so far as to just take the 2 off it recently. They went through like a rebranding, and it's like, that's what everybody said from the start. Like, what's the point of Why bother putting the 2 on it if it's the same game? I agree, but I also don't believe there ever needed to be an Overwatch 2 to begin with. I don't ever think there needed to be that. Some updates, more characters, just keep adding stuff, but it is one of those things where, it was completely unnecessary. But, I don't think it ever needed, that's a case where it's like, as long as you have a solid loop, just add to it. I think certain genres lend themselves to being able to be done in different ways and still be so, like, for example, and I feel like it's almost, this is too easy, but it's like racing games. I was gonna say sports games, but sports games is way too easy. It's like sports games are sports games. But like, best example I give is like Need for Speed. Need for Speed, there's some Need for Speed titles that are closer to actual racing simulators. And then there's Need for Speed titles that are more, just like a fun arcade racing style game. Those games stay relevant. Those games don't have like a story that I don't think anybody has ever cared about ever. And then they mix it up enough. So yes, it's technically the racing genre, but it's a different offset of the racing genre where, like I said, you go from borderline sim, like street racing sim, to an arcade style racing game. So those are games where, like, those are instances where those games don't really ever have to reinvent themselves. Give me some cool cars, give me some cool racetracks, and you really don't have to do anything. So I think it is somewhat genre dependent on the longevity of a series, how long it can go on. I would say that is about it. I mean, the only other thing I would bother to mention is like spin-offs, and I guess would you consider like a spin-off a legitimate, like when you say entries, do you mean like mainline entries or do you mean like spin-off entries? Because in that case, it's like, I feel like not only is that a viable route for a lot of these games to go, at least in the short term, I think it should be done more often, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think, yeah, I agree. Like, I think Odyssey and Valhalla should have been spin-offs. Call them something new. Be like Odyssey, but in brackets. Like, somehow you're letting us know it's in the Assassin's Creed world,
Right.
but it is its own thing. And real quick, I do just want to say with Assassin's Creed, I really don't think the story is the issue. Because those do end up all connecting in some capacity. Like Valhalla, for example, once you start getting near the end of the game, the Vikings are the ones who give the Apple of Eden to the tribe from Assassin's Creed 3. Like, that's how Connor's tribe gets it. And then, like, the Illuminati people from Odyssey are the ones that are connected to Valhalla. So it's like there is a through line. My issue is, it's like, even just as a simple act of pushing the stick forward in any Assassin's Creed game up to those games, walking through a city is so immersive. The city is so alive, it has a sense of weight. Whereas in Odyssey and Valhalla and Origins, even though they're fun, you're pushing the stick and he's immediately in a sprint. He's like moving more like a Dark Souls, Elden Ring kind of character.
Right, like an action adventure character.
It's like more arcadey, whereas like Assassin's Creed needs that kind of
controlled pace. Like, you're an assassin, you're not trying to draw attention to yourself, stuff like that. No, and I'm not saying the story's bad or anything like that.
I'm not. I know you're not. It was just, I was more so clarifying. My issues are more the gameplay and the soul of how it plays and controls. So right. Like, the story's always gonna.
I guess the story. And I guess it's all, for me. It's like a scale. It's variables. Different levels are going to impact the way I view that entry within the series. With the Assassin's Creed games, I think they go so far outside of that original ethos that it really doesn't matter. Like you said, the story ties in, but it's like you're so far outside of the ethos gameplay wise that it doesn't. It's and I guess when I say like spin-offs,
it's like 10 Cloverfield Lane being in Cloverfield somehow. It's like, come on.
Right. And like, even when I say spin-offs, it's like looking at games like Ninja Gaiden Yaiba compared to like original Ninja.
Yeah, right.
it's like that's like a spin-off. It's like a smaller title, smaller entry into it, where it's like a complete offshoot of essentially the original formula. That's like vaguely related to, everything. And it's like, I don't know. I there is I guess, and I guess that's part of the variables, I guess, would be scale, where it's like, I feel like they wanted Valhalla and Odyssey and them to have, wanted them to have a lot of relevance. But yeah, I think there's a lot of variables. All in all, I guess one would have to hypothetically say no. There is not a hard limit on those. I think some entries lend themselves better to that kind of thing. I think I 100% agree with the sentiment that there should be a limit where somebody should just say, let's do something else. I think once you reinvent something, it's the ship of Theseus, type of thing, where it's like, at what point do you, okay, I replaced the mast. All right, we need we need new ports. All right, new ports. We need a new steering wheel. Or a new steering wheel. We need new rudders. Okay, at what point is it no longer that original boat? You know what I mean? It's like, if you change all the elements of something to a point, but you simply call it that thing in name alone, is it still that thing?
No.
Or is it something different? And I think at that point, you may as well, we've talked about it before. I am firmly in the camp of, it should be just call it something else. I think you honestly, you do yourself a disservice by doing that. There was a point in time where brand recognition was everything. And I get that mentality. There is still some value in that, but I think we're to a point where there's too much stuff. Not too much in a bad sense, but there's too much stuff out there for you to do that successfully. At this point, I feel like you're pissing more people off than you are like drawing people in.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I think I fully agree with you on that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's to a point where once you call it something, there's too much eyes on it. There's too much information on it, which is a good thing because it keeps people from getting pulled into something that they're like, even like the newer Assassin's Creed games. Like, I'm not going to act like I was the biggest Assassin's Creed fan, but whether or not it's good or not, I would have probably been a little pissed off buying the newer Assassin's Creed games, assuming I was getting a original Assassin's Creed experience. Had I not seen the gameplay, had I not seen everything that was out there, I kind of would have been agitated thinking I was going to get a fucking, cool, sneaky, like you said, atmospheric, climbing on top of the buildings and sneaking along assassin type of thing. And then I'm been like a literal demigod being. I'm like, I don't, that would have probably got on my nerves. The game could be solid, but it's like when I expect to, and I guess that ties into this. It's like when I expect to get something, and this goes to like the soul of it. I expect a specific kind of gameplay to pick a title, for to an extent. I expect either a certain kind of gameplay or a certain type of story or a certain type of atmosphere. There's probably a couple other subcategories I could throw out there, but I need something to make me feel like I'm in this world. And for you to effectively make me not feel like I'm in this world the whole game, and then at the end of the game be like, well, they're the ones that actually gave it to the other tribes. It's like, well, you're telling me that I'm in this universe, but I don't feel like I'm in this universe. You're telling me I am, but you're not making me feel like I am.
Yeah, I think Odyssey is maybe the most extreme, just because you straight up. I mean, I guess I'll Valhalla as well, because you're Odin, like you are a god in that one.
Right.
But it's what you're saying, like, yeah, when you're Spartan kicking grizzly bears off of mountains and they goofy ragdoll down and then don't die because it's a level 25 and your kick is only level 6 and the fall damage didn't matter. It's like, this is not Assassin's Creed.
Well, even with the, going off what we were talking about before about like the weapons and stuff like that. The original Assassin's Creed, obviously it wasn't like, the deadliest warrior, or anything like that. But it's like, it felt like deadly combat to an extent. Like, yeah, it's a video game, so it has to be gamey, but it was like 2-3 hits, you're dead. A good counter, he's instantly dead. I'm killing quickly, precisely like an assassin. I'm not having full on, depending on your gear level, having a fucking minute long brawl where I'm beating some dude's head in with a sword. With a sword. I'm hitting this assassin, like I said, 2-3 hits with a sword, he's dead. 2-3 hits with a sword, he's dead. Who? Dodge it? Dead. It's like I felt like I was playing a lethal assassin. Now it's bam, 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 bam. It's like, all right, how many times can you slash a man with a fucking gladius before he is literally just ribbons? You know what I mean? It's like I don't feel like I'm an assassin anymore. It's completely throws off the vibe of what I was going for. There's not when you get to a high enough level, or I guess early enough in the game, you're 1 or 2 shotting people and you're doing stuff like that. But it's like, what is it? Black Flag. It's like, I just pull out a gun and shoot somebody square in the face. And that goes back to the Division thing. It's like that upset me because it's Tom Clancy almost as a brand was, that was one of the something where I said that you can't. They have, and they've done well enough, I guess. Not with the Ghost Recon games. Those didn't do well, but Tom Clancy games were always synonymous with tactical shooters for me. It was, headshots killed people, and grenades killed people. And then we got to the Division, and it's like everybody picked the SMG, and they just got the highest level SMG, and they tried to melt enemies. And it's like that completely derailed.
It's just dumb.
Yeah, like I said,
it goes into that previous topic of it's turned into a meta thing. What's the meta? What's the MLG mindset for it? And it's like, dude, this is dumb.
And that was like self-defeating as a brand. I feel like that one's almost specific because Tom Clancy has so many different games under that, and it's like I feel like all the Tom Clancy games had that specific thing. When you picked up a game that said, pick a game, Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy's anything, you knew you were getting a tactical shooter, somewhat realistic shooter of some kind. Yeah. And it's like, that went all out the window with Division. I had fun with it for like 2 seconds, and then it was like I'm force feeding some dude 50 cal rounds, like 8 of them, to drop them. It's like, what am I doing here? What am I? There's no, I was excited because it was like me and Stretch were playing, and it was like you can't be tactical in this game. It's not a tactics related thing at all. Like you did at first because you felt, but you get up a couple levels, you're like, what's the point? Walk in the room, melt everybody with once again, the SMG meta in that game was out of hand, and it's like, pick an SMG, walk in the room, melt everybody, you're done.
On a real quick side note, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, me and Nate and Jordan, I want to say, you put that on like military sim mode, and it is really, really fun. It's still not fully what you want it to be because it's still got that Ubisoft, all the enemies are generic Far Cry enemies, but it is really, really cool to like deck your character out and ride the boat at nighttime specifically and come up in the mud in night vision and headshot guys. And I think the market's starving for something like that, but that's neither here nor there. Vaughn, what did your opinion on this?
There's not really much I can add. You guys kind of hit all the points that I listed. I do probably fall in the middle of you two in that, to answer the question directly, I don't think there's a specific number like 3, 4, and then it's stale. I think it depends on the vibe, the sales, where the story's going. All these different combination of elements kind of go into a franchise just petering out. I want to bring up Guitar Hero is one that I feel falls in this. Kind of the music genre in general. Like Adrian was talking about how specific genres might not specifically fall into this, but they do lend themselves to becoming stale. I think the music genre is one of them because it's really, once you're doing rhythm-based games,
So
where else do you go from there?
Right, I stopped listening to music years ago, so it's like so old. So 2007 to listen to music.
That era.
Just sit
People
in
just don't hang
silence.
out.
Just sit
People
in
just don't hang
silence.
out. So sad.
Other than that, I wrote down God of War, of course. I wrote down Halo, simply because the last couple of Halo I feel like haven't really hit the mark. Gameplay wise, I remember there being a lot of negativity with 4 and Guardian. Was it Guardian or Guardians?
Guardians.
Yeah, they were chasing COD.
And that's where one of those ones I think reinvention was bad.
It's so silly. Dude, you're Halo. You have no reason to change your identity whatsoever. Ever. There's no reason. Like, you
created an identity. Like, why are you?
You're Halo. That's so crazy, dude.
And not to cut you off on, that was one of the ones I had as an example where I just think reinvention was like, when I say, like, when I brought up like the narrative thing, and this might be personal.
Yeah.
This might be personal. I could fucking give me Halo 3 gameplay and just give me a good narrative. Give me some new enemies. As of right now, being someone who's been Halo starved for so many years, and yeah, I think I could you could put as many entries into that series as you wanted to with that same gameplay loop, and just do the narrative and maybe change up some enemies. That's all I would want. I want no reinvention. I don't want a fucking grappling hook. I don't want to be sprinting like COD. Just give me that.
I have an idea for Halo that I think would be genius, but we'll save it for another time.
Just based on time, I don't want to go on too much longer, but I did come up with an additional element to your question that I kind of wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Do we think characters make a franchise, or the tone and mechanics? And this relates to, does it reinvent? Why? Or if it does reinvent, why not just call it something new? And that's where this question comes from. Like, is it the characters that do it, or is it the tone and mechanics?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was pretty much it.
Okay.
If Uncharted put out a new game, but you're playing as his daughter, is that still Uncharted? If you're playing Gears, but you're playing as a totally different group, is it Gears? Horizon, stuff like that. It just kind of sparked that question.
Honestly, I'm glad you just said that, because that was the whole reason I even wanted to talk about this question, is because that new Horizon just really bummed me out, deeply. I don't know. Me personally, this is just me personally. If one more game looks like Overwatch or Fortnite, I'm gonna blow my brains out. I just can't take it anymore. I just cannot take it. You guys look like clay, and everything's purple, and it's just like, I get it, man. And specifically with Horizon, I've been specifically hyped about. I've brought the Horizon multiplayer game up a lot of times. Dude, all you needed to do was have Last of Us Online and Horizon, and you'd be good. Horizon multiplayer should have been a competitor to Monster Hunter, and now it's a competitor to that generic Monster Hunter ripoff one. It looks like.
Honestly, I think this new Horizon, I would put this one as a True Blue spinoff. Would not. Yeah. I would not compare anybody making any comparisons to the original. It's like me saying what is it? Halo Spartans, the top-down two-stick shooter, and I'm like, this isn't Halo at all. It's like, if you thought this was Halo, you got your own hopes up on this one, which I get can be disappointing for people looking for new entries in the main line.
That's where I was getting at in our group chat with that.
Yeah, even the spin-offs for Halo though, what's the strategy one?
Wars.
Yeah, Wars.
Oh, I love
even those. But even those stay within the frame of Halo. You can look at that and see that that's Halo. You look at this new Horizon, and it's like, I don't know what that is until one of the robots come out. It's like the Afro dude is teleporting with his arrows, and they're it's just this isn't Horizon to me at all. This is transcending spin-off. This is why didn't you just change the robots into something else and make this a new franchise for yourselves?
I guess to answer your question, Vaughn, I feel like setting and characters are what really make the franchise. I can't say exactly. Well, I guess I could say tone as well, but it's like I would be I don't know, I feel like some of the games I'm trying to think of a game that really has a different tone.
It's a weird
As
line that I was having a hard time grapple with because
I do
yeah.
I do want to go with your point of is it the gameplay or is it the characters? Because, for example, like I was like, oh, I think 3, and then it's time to move on. However, Uncharted 4 is my favorite Uncharted. Metal Gear Solid 5 is my favorite Metal Gear. And at least in the case of Uncharted, it's kind of a combination of both of that, mechanics and story. I think it's the best story, and then I think it is the best playing like third person action game ever. Keeping it real, like to this day, it just has a fluidity that nothing else has matched. But for the most part, Naughty Dog is generally an anomaly in some way or fashion or another. But outside of that, I would put most of my chips on its gameplay mechanics, because a character can always be good, but if I don't care, I'm here to play. Like, if the game isn't good, your character's only going to take me so far before I'm like, all right, well, you're actually making me dislike them more, because it's the same thing with characters that don't talk that much. Sometimes their gameplay is their character, like Sekiro or something. He doesn't talk that much, but man, if that boy ain't expressive, like, I love him because of that.
I guess I would kind of push back on that a little bit, and it might be very game dependent, but it's like, just because we've seen a huge resurgence in Metroidvania games. Like I play, you can play Blasphemous or was it the Last Faith or any of these games that are of that darker, monsters, ghosts and ghouls. You're the guy out here kicking their ass, but it's like none of them are Castlevania. I don't, I feel like even the Bloodstained, it's like that game obviously it's made by the creator of the Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it's like it still feels like it has its own identity, even though it is straight up identical almost to Aria of Sorrow. Like even down to like you kill the monsters, and when their soul comes out, it does like a little loop around and jumps into your body, and it tells you the ability. It's like it's almost one for one. I'll be perfectly honest, but it's like the characters feel different, and the setting is even very similar, but it's like the main overarching like villains and stuff. Like I feel like the characters really can differentiate between series, and I think that genre, like I said, it might be a genre specific thing, but I feel like that does make the difference in those games. For me personally, at least, like the Belmonts. Dracula is Dracula. It's like it, and I get like I don't know. Dracula always felt like a grander threat than even whatever eldritch shit I was looking at in Blasphemous. And I'm like, I'm playing it and I'm having a ball, but I'm like, Dracula would kick your guy's ass,
Yeah,
Well,
right.
so it's obvious. Like I feel like it's a different. It still
I don't
has
care
its
about
own
this demon baby.
right. Like if Dracula was here, you wouldn't be talking to me like this.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't have a for sure answer on that. It was just a side street that I went down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
a good point.
I think it's definitely dependent. I think it's something that could definitely be explored more, and there's find some cool examples of where and where that does and doesn't happen and why. I think it'd be something worth exploring for sure.
It's hard to say. Different combinations of choices could warrant changing the title of a known franchise to something else, or it could fall in line with the same franchise, even though you've changed a bunch of elements to it. It kind of comes down to the parent company, the director, the producer. It's hard to say.
I'll say flag in the dirt. I think that if it changes it substantially, it should either be a spin-off or it should be different. I think changing a gameplay so substantially within the major franchise, I think that there is a limit.
Spin-off is the safe route.
Yeah, spin-off is the safe route. I could work, but yes, while I do feel characters and setting are primarily what it is, you can change a game so fundamentally to the point where, like, Guardians is an example. That's actually the perfect example, because not only do they kind of change a lot of gameplay mechanics, but they also make you play as not Chief, which, what the hell were you thinking? Now that we're talking about it, I'm like thinking about it, but getting more and more upset as I've been talking about this. The second Brandyn said Halo, I'm like, What the fuck were they thinking, dude? Not only did you change the game, but you made me not Chief. It's like,
Yeah.
Halo Reach felt like more of a Halo game, and Chief wasn't even in the damn thing.
I love Reach.
ODST.
Yeah.
Reach
Yeah,
is
like-
so good.
Yeah, this is a good topic. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be
No,
explored more, but it's funny. Yeah, those games
Yeah.
felt more like Halo games than Halo 5, and Chief was not even in those fucking games.
Last thing I'll say is just I think Resident Evil does this great. They somehow, I think 5 and 6 are the most radically different from OG Resident Evils, yet somehow they have become a part of the mainstay culture of Resident Evil to where now you genuinely have two fan bases that like both overall. Like, I like the Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 1 style, and I also like the Resident Evil 5 style. And they have a good cadence where they're throwing one out of each every other time. So it's like, it's worked out really good for them. I think we talked about it, but like, I'm kind of hoping they bring back like Operation Raccoon City. That'd be sick. Dude, please. Like, as long as you're, like you're saying with a spinoff, as long as you're committing to the source of it and not doing a Assassin's Creed or Far Cry New Dawn type situation, I think it's pretty
Just
good.
give me some cell shaded Leon.
Operation Raccoon City cheated, though, in all fairness, because I can't undo my bias. And they put Hunk in that game, so it was like that game was good automatically.
Yeah.
The moment he showed up on the elevator and knifed a dude in the throat and snapped the other guy's neck, I was like, "This is the best game that's ever made. It might possibly be the best Resident Evil game." Period. The second he showed up, I was like, "Oh, this is good. This is now a good game." I don't care what I bought that game. I had the game on 360. I played the shit out of it. Beltway.
Same.
Beltway is the only way to go. Big man with a shotgun all day. He just blows stuff up and shoots stuff with a shotgun.
I was Hunk Jr. Stealth.
Oh, was
Constantly.
it Vector?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Hunk canonically taught Vector everything he knows about hand-to-hand combat. So makes him even cooler. The exclusive martial arts hand-to-hand combat character still can't beat Hunk up. Just saying, he's like the coolest character. So.
Real quick, can I send you guys this? Just
I won't look.
So
send whatever you want.
My brother's cousin, he be running his mouth and finally found somebody that ain't on that, and look what they did to him. Look at that picture.
Oh no. Not the fucking walls of Jericho. They put him in the walls of Jericho. Okay, that's completely unrelated. You could.
Where when wrestling was big back in the day, my friend and I would do that in my front lawn all the time.
That move is devastating.
Oh, it's dangerous. It's
That
Oh, yeah.
picture is
spine.
that's a viral meme. That looks crazy, dude, on the concrete screaming.
Break the walls down.
Dog walking him. Dog.
Okay. We gotta get back on topic. I talk on that, but yeah, I could talk about this topic forever. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed this topic.
Yeah.
Exploring just what is the essence of the identity of a game and when and where it would be applicable to change. I am subject to bias, as I said, with Halo. I do have an interesting thing. I don't know if it's for this, but it kind of it directly pertains to Resident Evil, and essentially it is: do you think Resident Evil benefits from their gameplay evolution being tied to like how long they've been around? So effectively, like first person shooters and stuff weren't a thing when original Resident Evil came out. So and like tank controls were the only like the most optimal way to control. So do you think games like, well, I guess technically Call of Duty was around, but I guess let's use Gears of War as an example because I think it is one of the ones that have been around for a while.
Do we want to save this as a different
Yeah,
topic?
Let's save this. Let's save this. Let's save this because
Put it in the list.
Yeah, the second you said Resident Evil, I was like, you know what? That
started
is
twitching.
Yeah, I was like, interesting.
Resident Evil is just one of the most interesting franchises of all time, just as a whole in every aspect possible.
The GOAT!
It is definitely like a top 3 franchises.
Alrighty, let's jump to topic 2. In an era of digital-only consoles and delisted games, are you personally worried about the idea of game ownership? This was my topic, and this kind of sparked up when I was playing Resident Evil 2 on stream, because my current system is digital only, but I do have the hard drive attachment that I needed to add to play the disc version of RE2 that I have. If I didn't have that, I'd have to buy another copy digitally. And then to further that, we've seen a handful of games get delisted from stores. So you can't purchase them. If you've bought them, you can re-download them, but there's just no way to play them legally anymore from these digital storefronts. And the way the industry's going all digital, clearly, if you think otherwise, then you're kind of living under a rock. It's an interesting topic to bring up, because I think we're only going to see more and more movement to that digital only landscape. And with that comes the argument of, oh, I bought these digital games, they're mine, but are they really yours? They can be removed from your account, technically. Physical games, you can still play them, but that brings the argument, you still need the hardware to play it. So even those have some sort of timeline. So with you guys, what do you think? Are you still clinging on to any physical media, or are you strictly all digital now?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not. I really don't buy physical anymore. I have like some physical games on my shelf that I keep, more so because I'm weird about just like throwing stuff away. Like, even if it like that specifically, where it's like, I was throwing just games away. Well, like that's like, especially collectible stuff. Like, I'll keep collectible things by all means. Yeah. But I have like Brink for the 360, and it's like, I should absolutely throw this fucking game away. That I have no reason to keep this game at all, but I just can't. Like, I have a little case on there that's full of just game discs, and it's like, I could toss these. I feel like I have a, not specifically just unique to me, but I guess amongst us, I collect vintage games, right? Those games, no matter how well preserved, have a shelf life. I don't know what that shelf life will be, but there will be a point where my cartridges cease working.
Or the little battery inside. If it's a game that has the battery inside, could die.
Right. And I'm incredibly big on the games preservation movement that we have going. I think there almost is, I guess, in the gaming space overall, I think there's a few things more upsetting to me than the idea of lost media. Games that cannot be found, they have no ROMs retained, and they're just gone. And the best you have is like some grainy 480p recorded on a Nokia phone footage of a guy playing it on a CRT TV in his basement somewhere. And it's like, whether or not I would ever play that game is, a matter of question. But like, at least when I had a lot more time, and I would love to get back to it, but I used to love playing any game. I didn't care if it was like, they're vintage, so they're going to have their issues.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I still wanted the experience. I like games. I like the history of games, the history of game design. And it pertains to this because the same people that are doing the games preservation movement, games preservation at any level is what's, it doesn't have to be vintage games. I think there should be some kind of safeguard. My personal view on this is, after a game hits a certain time frame, then if the company no longer wishes to utilize it, keep it on the storefronts, whatever. Obviously, if you're going to remove from the storefronts, you don't plan on making money from it. They should release the ROM, and or with like the newer stuff, they should release the source code. They should release the game to the open public and allow us to preserve that because there's tons of websites that have come under a lot of scrutiny, especially from, take a guess, like fucking Nintendo, where they're like, yeah, we don't want this. We don't plan on retaining these ROMs for this game. You are also not allowed to save these ROMs onto a server somewhere so people could play it for free. We want this game to die and be forgotten, not because of any reason whatsoever, just because we don't want it and we don't want you to have it. It's like when I was it's like being in this, when I was in the services, I told this story, I think, to Brandyn maybe one time, but essentially, like, when they throw food away on military bases, they puncture the cans. So, like, preserve food, and it's, for legal government reasons, because it's like, they don't want people getting in the trash and getting sick, but it's like, it's upsetting to see that mentality where it's like, somebody could eat this, but we don't want it. It's literally going in the garbage, but we have to puncture the can before we throw it in the garbage, so it's guaranteed unusable for anybody. And it's the same kind of mentality. They're like, yeah, you can't have, we don't want this game. We're not going to put it on the store, so we don't want to make any more money from this game, but we also don't want to let you play this game.
It's like cutting cords of electronics that might be like a pixel's dead in the screen. So instead
salvageable to some degree,
yeah, instead of recycling it or selling it for parts that people could actually use, you're cutting the cord and you're smashing the screen and tossing it just to not let anyone else have it. It's a sad state.
Right. And obviously I think it's not, and that's just one of the elements of it, where it's like, there's realistically no justifiable reason to, like I said, they don't want to retain the IP license. They don't want to sell the game. They don't want you to have it. But on the more modern side of things, the digital side of things, where it's like, it's just straight up anti-consumer practices, where it's like, yeah, these vintage games, you're not buying them, so you could buy them. You can only buy those physically for the most part. So they're not doing anything against the consumer. They're just essentially committing crimes against gaming history. Whereas now it has transcended to a level where it's not only are they essentially erasing media from history and not allowing people to play it, but they're taking games that you have purchased. And the solution, realistically, like I said initially, is the same. You could absolutely just release these games, like look at Evolve, And I know we've talked about Evolve. I swear I won't go on an Evolve rant, but the game has a living community, and it's because Turtle Rock didn't go, well, we're not going to keep this game up so no one can have it. They said, well, fuck it, if you want it, you can play it, I guess. Like, go ahead, do your thing. Like, and they let you do that. There are tons and tons and tons of actual groups, organized groups of people that dedicate themselves to game preservation. There is no justifiable reason to, steal essentially from people. You could make and this is almost kind of playing devil's advocate, because you pay for the license. They say it on the tin. That is one of the things, devil's advocate. When you purchase these games, you did agree to these terms. And the Wheel of Time is just what the Wheel of Time is. Realistically, at this point, if you don't like it, you better stop gaming now, because it's not going to, in terms of, the digital landscape, like, it's only going to move more and more that way. It's like, even like the license, your physical license, like your vehicle license, a lot of people don't realize you don't own that license. You don't own your driver's license. That is the state's license that they're allowing you to have. It's why they're allowed to take it from you. Your driver's license is not yours. That's why when you get pulled over, they can say, give me your license, and you have to give them your license. That's not your property. That's the state's property. You're just renting it for, let's say my license expires in 2028. I rented my license from 2020 to 2028. So it's not a unheard of principle. Obviously, we view it differently when it comes to this, because we spend a substantial amount more money on games. And it's in the fine print. I think it's shitty. I couldn't give you an answer for what I think we could do to navigate that landscape. Because there's just really not much that can be done. It's like we can't force games to release, companies to release, well, let's say some years down the road when physical copies become like what the hell are you even talking about type of thing. It's like, we're not going to be able to force this march of time to reverse itself.
It's similar to the AI thing. We're kind of living through the history of that and needing to be the ones to establish the rules and regulations behind it. Your vintage or your like classic game preservation wasn't an element I was anticipating, but it is true. Yeah, the older games that kind of get lost to time, or even in the HD age, there's games locked to the PS3 era that you can't play because it's locked to that hardware. A way to get around that is to just put it on the streaming service. That is one route we could do, where if you're not going to sell it, put it up on the server so people can at least stream it to their system to play it. But that's a whole nother argument with, because that's down a route of streaming instead of ownership per se.
Right. And I wish I could attribute stuff like that to greed. It just feels it's not. And that's the messed up part. It's like I feel like it's straight up just
ignorance almost.
Yeah, we don't care. So too bad. It's like I would almost feel better if you put it on a streaming service and tried to make me pay for the shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're just destroying it. You're straight up just destroying it.
Acknowledge that it exists. Like, it's there. I have it. I see it. I see the marketing. Like, I can look it up. Bare minimum is you're just loading a specific package onto a server and people are pulling that data down to their system. It's not like they're ripping it or anything. It has to be validated by your server checks. So that's the bare minimum you can do. But to essentially,
go ahead. Oh, I was say I think that's the fair way to go. I guess if anything, I'm not going. As I said before, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that time isn't marching forward when it comes to the digital physical landscape. That is what it's coming down to. But I think if we're going to draw a line in the sand, it needs to happen sooner rather than later, and that needs to be one of the issues at the forefront. You need to allow me a way to always access these games.
Yeah, we've seen them use wording where if you're using the account that you bought it with, you'll be able to download it whenever, but whenever is too vague. Like, you have a legal vagueness that you can get away with, so you need to properly define that. And I guess to answer my own question directly, I'm not worried about it. And not to be morbid, but I'm going to die one day. And when I die, I can't play those games. So ultimately, who gives a crap? Like, I'm enjoying them now. If you take them away while I'm living, then that's a whole different argument. And we'll have to approach that when it arrives. But I guess currently at the time, because it's tied to the account that I'm constantly using and will continue to use, I don't really, not to use this phrase, but I don't really worry about it, honestly. I've moved away from the physical. I do like having things, like, as you can tell behind me, I like having boxes. Like, sometimes I'll just buy a box or a case for a game that I really enjoy because I just like to see it on the shelf. And if people come over and see it, they're like, hey, what is that? Then I can kind of elaborate, but I don't see any need to really have a physical disc that I'm never really going to use again. So that's kind of my stance, but let's get Brandon in on this.
I hadn't actually considered what you brought up, Adrian, and I respect that for sure, and would even champion it. That I hadn't really thought about it because I'm personally of the mind of, I went all digital as well once PS4 hit, primarily just because I have like an OCD where if Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, now I need Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4 all on the shelf. And it was just getting to be too much.
We wouldn't have the physical space in our fucking homes.
Yeah, literally. Games
we own. Yeah, that's an element too.
Yeah, I had to just pull the plug on that. I can only really think of two examples of them pulling the license of something that kind of stung, and that is Evolve and PT. Those are two that you just straight up cannot buy that matter to me. And I'm kind of the mentality of, kind of like what you said, like, gonna die. But more so, if we're at a place where the licensing to games are completely getting pulled off the PlayStation Store, then there's probably a much bigger problem at hand.
Yeah.
Sony's Sony. You know, if we're at that point, it's cooked. However, though, with the preservation thing that you were saying, like I said, I hadn't really thought about that. I think that's interesting, maybe from a standpoint now, because I started thinking of like, man, what if you couldn't play Bioshock or Shadow of War or my favorite games that are special to me now because I'm a little bit younger. Because there are some games like there's like a Lost World game on PS1 or even Battle for Middle Earth. Like that's hard and rare to get.
The Deadpool game that came out.
Yeah, Deadpool game. So there are examples for sure. I don't know. That's really interesting. It started kind of turning the gears in my head of like, maybe I should go buy a copy of Shadow of War because I feel like that one might get the chopping block one day because it has those, which I think they did remove the online features from it completely, if I remember correctly. But it's Warner Brothers, so it's just Lord of the Rings as a whole is just in a creepy spot right now.
I have a topic related to online stuff that we can touch on another time.
So. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not. I don't really. I guess I don't really think too deeply about the subject. Honestly, it's kind of like I said, if it's at the point where you know they're pulling the license left and right on things, chances are there's a much bigger issue going on globally or in the country or something to where it's like, I'm not worried about PlayStation.
Which there's two things I guess I would say on that. It's like in terms of like I understand like the not to say you two aren't men of culture, but like I understand like the historical significance of like the evolution of gaming, so to speak. It's like a niche topic. It's more interesting to me in just like the concept. Possibly, I'm obviously I don't, but it's like when I'm like even on my YouTube, it's like I'm always kind of watching things on older games because it fascinates me. Like genuinely,
being a historian about it, maintaining the history of it.
I like I have a fuck ton of like if I see a cool peripheral, I have one of the Power Gloves, the NES Power Gloves. Like I'm trying to find it. Like I found a Super Scope. Like that stuff genuinely fascinates me. Like even like if I could get my hands on like I would love like a Jaguar, like an Atari Jaguar, I think it's called. It's like
if you can find a working one.
Right. Like I just think the history of games and gaming is cool. And I think it's, a lot of people look at it just as a hobby, which is perfectly fine. But that's the thing. You can look at any hobby and you'll find people like I'm one of those people, like the people that like run the football museum. It's like a lot of people like football. A lot of people like to play football. There's a very select group of people that are like, so this is the first football that was ever made. It was made out of actual authentic pigskin. Like I'm that guy. I like that stuff. But I think that's significant. I love history in general. So this is, not only do I think history is cool, this is history that directly pertains to something I care a lot about. And I think that is worth preservation. But the reason I bring that up is because I think that there's an overlap. There's an overlap in values. And I think that we, people in general should really kind of emphasize on that because, if I talk about just the history of evolution of NES games, someone's like, nobody cares, nerd. But then it's like, it has crossover to this topic. It's like, you're not going to find a group of people more passionate about preservation of games than that community. But, it's going to be a who gives a shit until they start taking more recent titles. And I think people should have discussions like this more often and kind of find that through line where it realize it's like, it's not important now for you, but I'm sure there's somebody older than us substantially that is in the same mindset as myself. That's like, dude, I can't get these games anywhere. And they didn't even put the ROMs online. I can never play these games again. And like I said, these games have a shelf life. These physical titles have a shelf life. So there's people out there right now that are going through, and it's upsetting to me because I want to explore it more. I've only dipped my toe in the surface. It's like, people are going through existential crisis where their whole fucking memories are being erased and there's no way for them to get them back.
Yeah.
It's like, it's tragic. I get it. I'm being dramatic. It seems like I'm being dramatic, but like I said, it's actually sad to me. It's like anything. It's like seeing, an infrastructure, an old church be destroyed. And you're like, what the like that was a piece of the history of that place. And it's like
Yeah.
these games are like but it carries over to this topic where it's like there is no justifiable reason that if the companies aren't going to utilize them for gain, then they should absolutely allow them to be preserved. And then to reach on your bigger picture topic, it's one of those things that sucks, and I'd like them to not be in anything, but it's like this might have to be something that eventually is you get the government involved with. We've seen it, and that's where this is really dicey territory, because there's been a couple things that the government has had to step in and dip their finger in the pot with, and it's like, do we have to seek essentially government assistance for consumer rights protection?
Oh God, they're such ruiners.
But that's the thing.
They're such ruiners.
What that's part of why it's good to have these discussions too, because it's like,
Yeah.
is there any solution that we can work out essentially amongst ourselves,
right,
with these companies, or do we have to get the government to like, at what point do you say, fuck it, I ain't losing, we're losing, and now the government's involved, now everybody's having a bad time. Congrats, you could have just let us preserve this, but you didn't want to. You essentially wanted to take the spoon out of my mouth. So it's like, all right, well, now we're all gonna have a bad time. Hey,
Nintendo's the worst about all that. It's super sad to see them going after people and like a news article about it every other month. It's like,
fun story, because I was watching like the history of games, and this was talking about like essentially the history of gaming in relation to like rental stores. Nintendo sued Blockbuster. Just to point out, this is not a new Nintendo thing. They've always been on some bullshit. They sued Blockbuster because Blockbuster was taking the instruction manuals out of games, printing instruction manuals, copying them and printing them and putting them in the game case, because people were stealing them and or destroying them. Nintendo went after Blockbuster for copyright infringement for trying to make sure that they had enough instruction manuals in the games. Because, when children are taking these games, or just assholes are taking these games out of the store, they're stealing shit. And Blockbuster's like, dude, if we don't do this, we won't have instruction manuals. And they ended up settling it out of court. I don't know, obviously they settled it, so I don't know the conclusion. But yeah, fun fact, Nintendo's always been on this bullshit, even if it's a completely justifiable, reasonable thing.
I remember that case. It was, I think it ended in Nintendo sucked or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When I heard the settlement was. I don't know personally. That's just, I'm pretty sure what the
I've heard about that in Nintendo.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, dude, that literally hurts everyone and benefits nobody. It's like, yeah, we would rather people not know how to play the fucking game, because it's an old game. A lot of those games didn't have any kind of tutorial or anything. So like, some of those games you low-key needed the instruction manual, and it was like, they were like, yeah, if it gets destroyed, then sucks to suck, bro. I don't know what to tell you. It's like,
yeah. Also, real quick, I just want to say that I definitely wasn't dismissing, and that's why I said I hadn't thought about that avenue, and I respect and would champion it.
Oh no, I'm not saying
coming from. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I just, because the preservation of it from a historical standpoint, like, I would totally go to a video game history museum. Like, that'd be sick. I'd be into that. But yeah, I definitely was thinking about it from a more selfish standpoint of like, well, I mean, it ain't the games I really care about just yet.
Right. And that's me saying that is more so acknowledging that it's not a reasonable expectation for me to expect everybody to care about it on that level. And I'm not saying you don't or wouldn't. It's just the fact that there is definitely there's an overlap there where it's like the solutions realistically are the same, where it's, if these things are going to be delisted and gotten rid of, then instead of just discarding them and having them be lost to history, why not allow people that are willing to preserve them to preserve them?
You don't think about there needing to be a library of this media until it's already gone.
Right. And these are the perfect examples, I guess, and that, why I bring that up specifically, because it's like, that's already happening. like I said, I think there's almost nothing more tragic when it comes to whether it be film or, since we're talking about games, lost media. I think that is like it genuinely saddens me. To watch any of these videos and be like, yeah, we have this, like I said, we have this grainy footage from a CRT TV in a basement, but this game doesn't exist anymore. It may as well be a freaking urban legend, and you will never ever get a chance to experience this ever or know what it's like because it's gone, and it never had to be that way.
I go on weird YouTube tangents of watching old 90s commercials and stuff just to like see stuff that I might have remembered or I have never seen before. And I'm like, this, you can't find this anywhere. Like, thank God for YouTube at least, but there's really no other place to find this media. It's not cataloged anywhere. It's just nowhere to be found. And it's super sad to see. I think
we're at it.
Angry Video Game Nerd really, I always cared about the preservation aspect, but it's something that doesn't really pop in your mind because we're being bombarded by media all the time and it's always something new and you don't even remember that you forgot something, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
Angry Video Game Nerd really like sparked that, like, wow, they're just seeing his shelves of games was like, wow, there really is a plethora of these titles that 90% of the population just won't ever know about.
Yeah. The guy's living my dream, except for the fact that, those games, they're old games, as I said. So a lot of them are very unpleasant to play, but I think they're cool for what they are. But it's exactly that, where we're at a point now that people that were raised on those games were at years ago. And before you know it, PlayStation 1 never existed.
What is PS1?
Exactly. That's like we're at that deciding point where we can either do something about it or, like, using the Jaguar as an example. If you're fucked. If for whatever reason, if you were one of the rare people who that system was like a major part of their childhood, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. You can no longer, like, yeah, you can find the stuff somewhere, but for the most part, you will never play those games again. You will never play that console again. You're done.
That one's even more unique because those were already almost trash when they came out. Like, they rarely worked. So getting a working one is even more of a holy grail nowadays.
Yeah.
So
then we're at that kind of turning point where it's like within the next decade or so, it could be like, what the fuck is a PS1? Because there could be no games, there could be no preservation, there could be nothing. And then you will never be able to explain or never be able to re-experience those old experiences if you ever want to go back to them. And like I said, you may never want to, but I personally find that incredibly saddening.
Alrighty, that was a super depressing end to a interesting topic, but it's true. It's the truth.
Well, it's like anything. It's like, yeah, that's stuff. It's the same thing with nature conservation or animal conservation. It's like, yeah, the reality of what's happening is sad, but the only way that it changes is if we try to do something about it.
Well, we're all gonna die one day, so who cares, right? Topic 3. No.
Yeah, you guys give up way too easy. I'm absolutely haunting the servers, dude. I'm gonna be on some Ring shit.
Just jack into the Matrix, and then
some dude's gonna die in the year 2157, and it's just gonna be a ghostly hand, just so close.
Just master hand grabbing people.
Does it say so close to you sometimes when you fucking die?
Does this gamer tag say the 7th?
I am the sovereign. So close.
Okay. Let's jump to topic 3. This is all about the state of play that happened. Was it the 12th? What is today? 13th? Yes, the 12th. Time means nothing.
Yesterday. Yep.
I'm going to go through the announcements, and we can briefly talk about it longer, depending on our passion for it. Let's jump right into it. So they announced God of War Trilogy Remake. Beyond that, not really anything else. We don't There was no footage. It was pretty much the voice actor of Kratos announcing it.
He faced a blunt or something. He was high as a kite.
Good for him. He was very personable, and he's usually not. So good for him.
He was feeling it. He was like, "They paid me a fat check, dog. I'm Kratos." Let me tell you. Yeah.
More so, I'm glad that they're on happy terms with him, because it seemed kind of negative when they announced the new voice actor for Kratos. It kind of seemed like they kind of just pushed him to the side, but it's nice to see that they are still in good talks with him. So that's good.
It's definitely interesting for them to have him come and kind of, be a part of the announcement, because it's kind of indicating to me that this might be closer to like an RE2 remake.
Yeah.
For them. Like, you're not just taking the same dialogue, which you wouldn't need him for. You know?
My guess is they're going to use some of the assets that they created for the multiplayer God of War game that they canceled.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to change this perspective on some of it, or if that's really what they're going to do, and they're going to change some of the story to make it more in line or more.
They better not ruin it, dude.
I don't know if they could ruin it, but they might add to it to make it so that they can further the franchise in some way and have him re-record lines. I think that franchise is too cherished for them to burn down. So I think it would be more additional dialogue than redacted dialogue.
I think the question is, if the enemies don't have levels, do we even want to play it?
I want a Hades score for my gear.
The God of War weapon upgrade. Like, if I don't upgrade my weapons, I don't even want to do any damage. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I
let out. Oh God, I.
That's my biggest fear. The moment you said like remake, I was like, please don't do that.
My fear with God of War as a whole, with the franchise, is I have a suspicion, and I hope I'm wrong. I have a suspicion that more people don't like Ragnarok than it's let on. And I think if they go down that road again, the narrative on God of War can flip overnight. I think as time's gone on, like, I know a few people that were like, I love it. And now they bring it up to me a few years later, like, I think that maybe kind of sucked, actually. I'm like, I'm trying to tell you.
What a drastic change.
It's not that there isn't, good stuff in it, but I'm like, just play God of War 3, man. But I'm excited for those remakes. I don't know if it's necessary per se, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like seeing that intro to God of War 1 redone in PS5 graphics isn't going to be gnarly.
Yeah, I'm more excited to see 1 and 2 in a remake fashion than 3.
Yeah, 3 holds up.
My reaction on the stream was very negative, but only because I'm not in the mood for another remake, or not another remake, but another remaster-esque of God of War, because they've already done it a handful of times and put it on multiple systems multiple times. So I have fatigue with God of War, but I am very interested in seeing how good that's going to look and what possible changes they're going to add to it to make the franchise more viable in the future, because I would like to see Kratos do new and different things in different lands. And if you can shoehorn in some added dialogue in this remake to make it more narratively viable for him to go in other places, I'm for it, as long as it fits. So
give me a spin-off, story-driven spin-off, where you're just a random Greek person while fucking Kratos is doing all of this. And it's just the worst week of your life. Like, it's just like
Temple Run, but Kratos is chasing
well, no, he's not even chasing you. You're just like, yeah, it was a lovely day. And then he like fucking murders Poseidon. You're like, Jesus, run. Then he fucking kills Hermes. There's like a plague, so you're like fucking sneaking around trying not to die from the plague.
It's a simulator.
Yeah, it's essentially a disaster simulator, except it's Kratos. Every time he kills somebody, you're just like, oh, thank God we got out of there, and then the sun turns off.
God of War construction simulator. You're the one building the town, and you're seeing this dude destroy half the things you made, and you're just trying to keep your sanity. Yeah.
And then there's a Greek guy at a grape vineyard. He's like, Alexios, please go slay the God of War for a side quest for me. And now you're in a new Assassin's Creed game.
I just love they can't do anything about it. Kratos is just fucking everything up. There's like floods, plagues, sun goes out, fucking storms constantly, and you're like, what is happening? Why? Because nobody else has any clue that what's going on. Like Kratos is just handling business. It doesn't even have to be it doesn't have to be a full game. Just give me like just a quick experience of being somebody that is just in the middle of gods fighting.
Misery. Absolute misery.
Terrible day.
Staying in the God of War lane, they announced and released God of War Sons of Sparta, which is a 2D Metroidvania prequel. It seemed closer to a prequel to Ghosts of Sparta, which was a PSP game.
Calliope.
I played a little bit of it. I'm a little too early into it to give final impressions, but it feels good. It looks awesome, and the voice acting's good. So far so good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I bought it too, and I played a little bit of it. I don't know why I was like before I bought it because I was like, oh, dude, 2D God of War, absolutely. And then for some reason I like got negative on it out of nowhere with no opinion or nothing. I was like, oh god, did I get got? And then I started it up, and I do appreciate like off rip. They throw you into a fight and don't even tell you how to control anything.
Nothing.
Just you're fighting instantly, and it's got the God of War 2018 like shield parry, and it does feel really like heavy and chunky. Which I was like, okay, this can make up for the gore a little bit as long as it feels like I'm rocking your socks. Like that'll be cool.
So is there none whatsoever?
It can be bloodier. It can be bloodier.
It's not blood everywhere.
It's not God of War original where
normal enemies you're not seeing blood fly everywhere. I've really only seen blood with bigger enemies. But the mechanics and the combat are interesting because you're gaining new abilities based on leveling up the gear that you find. So I have like the charged spear attack where you hit multiple times, but I only got that because I found some gear and I leveled it up a couple times. So
it's interesting.
You can kind of really build out your Kratos that way.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how the structure of that plays out. I'm gonna definitely keep playing. It does look really good. It looks like Blasphemous.
Yeah.
Was that Sony Santa Monica? Is that in studio? Like they did that?
No, it's a different, like an indie dev that they worked with.
Word.
A lot of these we can kind of just go through real quick. They're making a sequel to Kenna, so it's called Scars of Kazmara. So it's a sequel to Bridge of Spirits.
I dig Kenna. I think that game is pretty cool. It's got such a cool look to it.
Yeah. I enjoyed that first game, so them having a sequel was very shocking because I didn't think that game sold enough to warrant a sequel, but good for them.
Yeah.
We did talk about this on a previous episode, but they actually showed off a John Wick game.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Saber, man, come on.
Saber.
So violent.
I want to know how that game is going to play because they talked about like the gun fu and stuff like that is in this game. That sounds super complicated to get working on a controller and not be repetitive. The repetitive nature is what I'm worried about. You can have contextual things based on the area that he's in. Like if you're going to be able to make anything in that room a weapon because it's John Wick, you got me. I'm sold. Like if I can grab a plate,
kind of what it looks like.
I'm hoping that is.
Yeah. He's like smashing him into the window, and then he's fighting the one guy, gets him in a headlock, and grabs a knife off the table and just starts stabbing him in the face. Like, oh my god!
Yeah, like punches someone, then gets him in a headlock and shoots him with the gun. It's like, okay, that's John Wick, but like, how many times am I going to do that and do the same animation every time?
Right.
I know it's a game, so you're going to see repeat animations, but like, I don't want to fight a room of 4 guys, and then 3 of them I'm doing that same exact kill animation. So
right, as if it's like a Space Marine execution or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely would be interesting to see. I guess when I was watching it, I was getting, in my mind, it's like a mix between like Last of Us and Batman combat, I would imagine. People running up on you, or like Sifu of some kind, where you have like a parry where he does a boom, parry, shoots you under the chin, and then it's got the Last of Us contextual, hit you into the wall, and there just happens to be something there that you have.
I was going to say, bring the Sifu devs in to help with some of the combat, and Jesus Christ, that'd be insane.
I hope Sifu just they just need to they need to not make a soccer game and move. Like, what are we doing? You guys have like some of the best combat ever. You're making a soccer game. Come on, let's.
Konami was here, surprisingly. Konami's back. I'm very shocked. They announced a Metal Gear Solid Collection 2. So it's going to have Metal Gear Solid 4, Peace Walker, and Ghost Babel. So first time 4 is on anything other than PS3. They showed a trailer for Silent Hill Townfall. It's a first-person horror game. Not set in Silent Hill, so they're continuing the route of Silent Hill can be anywhere, which is fine with me. It looks very Silent Hill-esque, so that's all that matters.
Give me Alien Isolation vibes.
Yeah. Some of those creatures were super gross and disgusting.
Yeah, the medical needle coming out. I was like, oh, are we doing this? I'll just watch you guys play this.
Second needles got involved.
Yeah, I'm good.
They showed off more of the Marvel fighting game, Marvel Tokon. They showed some mutant gameplay. So Wolverine, Magic, Storm. Is there one other? I can't think. Magic.
Yeah, they did. I personally, I don't know why. I just don't care about that game. I just really don't. I'm just waiting for Marvel vs. Capcom. Like, I'm just not even going to pretend to care.
Then they showed off Castlevania Belmont's Curse.
Dude, it looks great. It looks great. Right now. I don't know, who are you playing as? Who is that? Did they say by any chance?
God, I hope it's Julius.
I'll let Adrian look it up. I forget what
it's a
name
female, isn't it?
Yeah. It looked like a female.
Dude, that game looks... Because it's the Dead Cells devs, from what I understand.
Yep.
And they put love into that one, dog. That looks so good.
I knew the second that those devs did a DLC for Castlevania, and it was amazing that they were going to be like, we need you for something special.
Yeah, dude,
and they did it.
Them or the Blasphemous team, I was totally like, one of you guys got to get a hold of that.
I think the Dead Cells team is better in the speed of the combat.
Their gameplay is better, in my opinion. Blasphemous is like artistically really good and everything, and tone and vibe, but I would want to know, man, is that something unique to the Dead Cells devs? Like, their games have a fluidity that just... everything just chains together, whereas Blasphemous or even like Last Faith, it has that old school kind of like...
It's chunky.
Yeah,
it's chunky, yeah. I think the Dead Cells team does their animations differently than most people, where they add extra frames into it. That's why it looks so smooth. Whereas Blasphemous has good frame pacing, but it's not as fluid as the Dead Cells team. So.
Yeah. On the Metal Gear collection, I'm hyped for 4, don't get me wrong. I'm kind of bummed out that Metal Gear Revengeance isn't in that collection.
Revengeance is kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the Metal Gear franchise, because it was Platinum that did that. So it's kind of outside of the core Metal Gear lexicon. So
I get that.
If they do like a 0.5 version of the collection where they add non-Kojima stuff, which, side note, didn't bring up Kojima at all or mention his name or anything. How dare you?
Well, this is kind of what I'm like getting at, is like, you guys release Metal Gear Survive. It's like, it is a Metal Gear game now. You're putting the collection out, so you guys are loyal to Kojima now all of a sudden? Like, it's just, And from what I understand, people like Revengeance. It's not like it's Metal Gear Survive. Like, people don't like Survive, but love Revengeance.
Yeah.
I never got to play Revengeance, dude. It's eating me alive. Eating me alive.
Revengeance is real good. Real bonkers.
Oh, that game is.
I watched Dylan, dude, and don't you like fight the president at the end? He's just like a jack.
The senator.
Yeah.
Nano machines.
Yeah.
I made it the fuck up.
I was kind of bummed about that. I'm not gonna lie, but now I have to get all the Metal Gears, so that's fine. Castlevania looks amazing. Tokon, it looks good. Tokon does look really, really good, but I'm not like a crazy Marvel guy, and I'd way rather. I know a new Marvel vs. Capcom is got to be a year or two out, so it's just like I'll just wait for that.
So it is an unnamed Belmont. I mean, I'm pumped for it. I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't play games with a girl character.
Yeah, it might be like the Ninja Gaiden thing where they add a new character in because.
Well, there's gaps in the Belmont timeline. I am curious as to what this will specifically pertain to, because in the Castlevania storyline, like Dracula, obviously there's monsters that aren't Dracula. Like Dracula's their arch nemesis, but they were always monster hunters. And there's big gaps in between.
Yeah.
So there is room to do it. So for anybody that is
game
gonna act like it's fucking up the timeline, realistic. Oh, obviously they could still, but I don't think they will. But anybody that's gonna argue that this messes up anything, not really. There's a lot of ambiguity in between what's happening. Going back to kind of what we talked about before with like the James Bond thing, where it's like, but the Belmonts were fighting Dracula. It's like, yeah, they were also fucking doing stuff in between. There's nothing to say like just because they weren't saving the world doesn't mean they weren't fighting monsters or saving the world from somebody else. There's tons of bad guys.
And dude, for a fact they're gonna
that
have
game
unlockable characers where you're unlocking.
I hope so. I mean, not that I obviously I don't know anything about
tough
this.
Walk from Simon, just come on.
Yeah, not that I don't know anything about this current character, but I have a soft spot for honestly a lot of I have full faith that I'm up for this. I'm down. Add a new Belmont. I don't think there's a Belmont that isn't really super cool. Like
no, they're all
like
sick.
the one that this one is after. I think it was after Belmont's curse or Dracula's curse, and it's like you're Christopher. I don't know shit about Christopher. Nobody cares about Christopher Belmont, but all the others are pretty cool. Not to say that he wasn't cool, but just know he just redhead stepped.
Release date?
No, not that I'm seeing. It just says it's upcoming. They don't even have a name for the character or anything.
I would have rather that game dropped instead of God of War, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh yeah, this year is the 40th anniversary of Castlevania. Sweet.
It just gets me hyped to know that Castlevania's back in the mix too. Like that's the big thing.
They just said later this year.
Konami also said that there are more planned Castlevania things happening, so they have officially confirmed that they are doing stuff with it. So that's good to know.
My God. Konami on this renaissance, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, they were shit in the bed, and then they finally changed those sheets. So it's finally
they were making all that fucking pachinko machine money.
Like, man, it's stanking here.
Yeah,
open a window.
The pachinko market must be down. They must have got something else on there.
Man,
what a weird market. That'll forever be confusing to me.
Speaking of gambling, which I forgot to bring up in the last topic, Nintendo does have a museum in Kyoto, but you can't just go to it. You have to enter into a lottery, and if you're picked for the time frame that you submit online, you can go to it.
I heard Nintendo sucks. I don't know where I heard it, but I heard they just do nonsensical things out here.
And if you fucking take pictures, they probably like shoot you on the spot for copyright infringement. They're like,
and then sue you.
If they want to see it, they got to see it from us and nobody else, scumbag.
Speaking of Nintendo being the worst, the team behind Pokemon are making that Beast of Reincarnation game, and they showed that off. That looks fun. I'm excited to hopefully play a demo of that if they ever make one. But I think that would be very smart for them to do, considering this is kind of a new foray for them outside of Pokemon that people aren't used to. So Put a demo out, damn you. They showed off the Legends DLC for Ghost of Yote. It's a free 4-player co-op. It's very supernatural, so I'm pumped for that.
It is uncanny. It's like that and Nioh 3 look identical.
Hmm.
You're running around in a Oni, yokai world and red skies and everything. It's like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yep. I believe they said it was free DLC, and that's coming March 10th.
Hell yeah.
They showed off more Marathon. I don't care about Marathon, but there's a open beta coming on the 26th of February. So I was in the closed beta.
Is that multiplayer only?
You can play it single player, or you can play it solo, but you are playing online against other people.
Which one is this? I'm sorry.
Marathon, the Bungie game.
Yeah,
The game.
I just don't care. I don't know.
The game that fucking put Bungie on the map.
Yeah.
And the game that they based.
Gonna be the one that puts them in the grave too.
All this. We talked about it before when we brought up Marathon, and I just wanted to verify that was still their game plan. And this kind of pertains back to my historically thing, where it's like you motherfuckers don't even care about the thing that made you you. And in reality, there's probably nobody there left that even remembers that. Like everybody is probably like, "Oh, what's this game, Marathon?" It's like it's the game that pretty much got this company going. From doing them dirty.
From the beta that I was in, there's definitely love and a lot of craft put behind everything going on in that game, like the graphic design, the UI elements, the character designs, the world. There's love put into that. It's just not a game that I would enjoy. It's essentially taking the raids from Destiny and making that the whole thing every time. And if you lose the match, you lose some of your stuff. So, like, that gameplay loop is gross to me. Like, that makes me not want to play it.
I just miss when Bungie used to make like masterpieces. Things. Like freaking Halo is obviously we already talked about it falling on the wayside, but like the original Halos and even the offshoot games, it's like those were games where like core memories, gaming memories for me. It's like it seems like you guys don't care about that anymore. You just care about, and I don't expect anything from major companies, obviously, but it's like, what happened to giving a shit? What happened to like wanting to make a impact? It's like, yo, people are going to remember this game for the rest of the time.
If it's not making money, it's got to be a live service game. And if it's a live service game, it's got to be making that money. So it's a gross loop we're in. And
I hate it here.
Can't just put out a good game. Well, I'll give Capcom credit. They're putting out good games and making money. And
right, that's why I say Bungie specifically, because there's been a couple games. There's been a couple companies, Capcom, they had some slip-ups there, and they recovered. Good for you. Konami seems like they're recovering from being dicks. So it's like, Bungie, why? And I know I keep harping on it, and it's something that only I care about, but it's like, if there was a game to make a genuine we give a shit comeback for, it was Marathon. It was Marathon.
I'll be interested to see what they do after Marathon, because I feel like Marathon was one of those projects that came along with the purchase, and they just have to see that through. But now that that's going to be released, I want to see what Sony's going to do with Bungie now post Marathon. Marathon's going to sell well. I feel like it's going to sell well because it's a lower price point. It's going to get the Destiny people in there. I don't think it's going to blow up as big as Destiny did, but I don't think it's going to fail like a Concord did.
I would make the Bungie devs maintenance The Last of Us 2 online.
I think we talked about that too.
Like you guys wanted to put it in everybody's ear to get this shut down, and then you guys want to completely fumble as a company and basically lie about everything and steal art and be the nuisance of the entire industry. You guys think you're hot shots? Bet now you are the workhorses for The Last of Us Online. How about that? Clock in.
Fuck.
I would strip them, tar them, and feather them, dog. Like,
You went from golden boy to golden bitch.
man,
Congratulations.
and their CEO or whatever he was, that boss who was just like buying cars left and right and not paying people. It's like, oh, okay, bet, I got you. Don't you worry, I got you. They're just like an arrogant. I don't know. They just have a bad energy to them, man. They're all. I never hear anything good from Bungie ever.
Speaking of tar, they announced Death Stranding 2 PC version. That's coming on March 19th. So that's cool. That's pretty on par with the first game. Like a handful of months after it released, it then came to PC, so good for them. Yeah. They announced Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered.
Really?
It's got a lot going on with it. There's like a photo mode and like what was the other feature?
They added like detailed maps that you can see in game now, so it helps.
I love Legacy of Kain Defiance and Blood Omen.
They're adding like some levels from a canceled Legacy of Kain game. I forget what specific one.
Cool.
But yeah, they're adding a lot to this. New textures.
That's a series that really could make a resurgence real easy.
I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like that's why they keep.
Well, because they did the Soul Reaver remasters or remakes or whatever you want to call them.
And the Legacy of Kain. So I'm always confused on Legacy.
So
of Kain.
it's Legacy of Kain. Like Soul Reaver is part of it. So Legacy of Kain. Think of Legacy of Kain as the world, the universe, like Lord of the Rings, whatever.
Okay.
So it's Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. Yeah, so
it's
like
Aragorn story or something.
Yeah, so yeah, look at it that way. So like I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. I don't know why, but
is it not Azrael?
It's something like that.
Azazel or something?
No, it's you're closer. It's in that ballpark. But yeah, Soul Reaver is the story of him because he's the Soul Reaver, and then like Defiance and Blood Omen are the story of Kain. And essentially his ascension to being the biggest dickhead on the planet. That game is one of those games where it's like you almost can't. It's not like Kratos from God of War where there's like an argument to be made. I've like watched, like I played the games, a lot of them, and I've watched so much stuff. It's like Kain is almost unapologetically an asshole. He's like straight up just a dick the whole time. Like even when he throws him in the fucking pit that turns him into the Soul Reaver, it's just because he's becoming like fucking cooler than him. He sprouted wings and was ascending to a higher level vampire, and he's like, not on my watch, bitch. Like that's one of those one things. If you're planning on playing that game, anybody, just know that if you want to play a game where you're even remotely the good guy, it's not the game. You were just an asshole.
And Amy Hennig had some involvement in those as well.
That'd be,
oh yeah.
No commitment. I'm not committing us to it or anything, but that might be a fun one to marathon through. I played them as kids, but I didn't know what was going on.
They have the original on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they remastered 1 and 2.
No,
that seems fun.
I'd be down to play those games. Those games are fun.
They showed off Rayman 30th anniversary, which I guess cool. I'm not that interested in the original Rayman, especially because it didn't look like they did too much to the visuals. Not that I expected a full remaster of the original, but it's up-resed, and there's some additional accessibility features and like behind the scenes stuff like that. So if you're a big original Rayman fan, that's out now.
It sucks that I hate Ubisoft so much because I would wish I would want them to succeed, but I think they've far past that point with me where I'm like, just give up. Just stop paddling. Just go under.
They showed off a game called, well, it's doesn't have an official name, but it's Project Wildless. It's essentially a God of War mixed with Dynasty Warriors, and you're a big chicken man.
Oh, dude, this looks awesome.
A cock of war, you could say.
Yeah, you gotta look this up. It looks way too cool. Like, it's ridiculous.
I thought it was a Black Myth game at first.
Yeah, it's got that energy.
Yeah, it's mass mayhem, and you're a humanoid chicken running around beating ass. So,
dude, and at the end of the trailer, he's like commanding an army to another army, and then he just jumps in, and it's like,
Is it a Chinese game?
It looks super
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah.
That's like a weird thing because there's a couple shows I watch that are Chinese shows, and I've actually seen like this concept before. There's a thing for like super muscular humanoid chickens. I don't know what it fucking is,
That's
but
that one.
it is most certainly, well, it's like a China thing. Like it's in multiple forms of media across multiple different things. Like that's just a thing. I don't know where it originates from. Obviously, I'm not super hip to Chinese culture, but like a giant masculine humanoid chickens is like a thing
That's so funny.
in their culture. I don't know what it is.
And arguably the best thing I saved for last is Control Resonant. They showed off some actual gameplay, and that one is everything you could hope for. And they didn't even show a ton, but from what they showed, boy oh boy, is that verticality insane.
Anything else? I don't want to see a lick more, dog. That trailer is, once again, dude, you're playing in Inception. Remember when they're fighting in the hallway and they're like running around the walls? Dude, he's literally running across the buildings and then just jumps and the camera shifts and now you're on the wall just became your floor. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, all right, I've seen enough.
Yeah, you can jump towards a wall and then it automatically rotates and you're on it. And then if you're jumping from one building to another, there's like a button prompt for you to like zoom into that building and land on it. And then you're fighting.
I have complete faith in them. But
Dude,
oh yeah,
it's like
I hope they
Infamous kind of thing. It's crazy.
Mechanics like that are honestly, I don't think anybody's ever obviously pulled anything like that specifically off. But like people have tried. Like even like all I can think in my head, I'm having like flashbacks to like the AVP game, and you're playing as like the alien, and then there was a lot of
up and stuff. Yeah,
there's a lot of shenanigans though. Like that stuff can be difficult to pull off. So I'm curious how they do it, and I'm like I said, I have full faith that they'll do it in a good way. But you can do that mechanics like that poorly, and it makes for an absolute bitch.
Yeah,
it'll be the kind of thing that makes you dread seeing a hallway because you're like, great.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure there's probably going to be parts where it's intentionally trying to disorient you with that. I would imagine for sure.
Oh yeah, but at least try some crazy ass puzzle.
Yeah, at least when he was in the open world, when he would jump to it, it's like literally, it's not even that. It's almost like the whole world is shifting to you, so it just recenters to the normal screen.
Yeah,
to where now what was a wall is the ground, and you're just looking around. It's like the city is doing that Inception thing. There is no like coherence to the layout of anything. It's just you're in buildings 360 degrees around you.
Yeah, it's not like Spider-Man where you're crawling up a wall and the camera stays how it is. It's like literally like you are changing the X plane that you're on.
Yeah, dude, it looks so crazy. Oh my god. He holds one of the monsters down and turns his hammer and breaks it into two daggers and just starts stabbing it. It's just blood flying.
Yeah, they said you could find a bunch of different forms for that weapon, so that's exciting.
They didn't give a release date, right? Just 2026.
Same. Yeah, 2026 wording.
So it was John Wick, Control, and there was one more that I was.
There's that Darwin's Paradox, that little octopus thing, but
yeah,
I think we pretty much went through everything.
Oh, and Castlevania. Yeah, those are the three main ones. Yeah, that to be fair, that Four Loop, the Bad Robot, and I think it's Turtle Rock Studios making that.
Oh yeah.
That actually looks pretty good. I like that looks genuinely unique. I don't know what's going on at all.
Oh no.
But it looks like Left 4 Dead, Arc Raiders, kind of. I don't know. I do kind of have my eye on that. That looks unique for sure. There was some interesting stuff going on in that trailer.
I'm getting a little bit of Fuse.
Yeah.
With that too, which is like the weird mechanics and almost sci-fi abilities that you have. Mm-hmm. But to me, unfortunately, it kind of falls into it looks very generic to me, even though you're doing some crazy cool stuff. I'm getting a very generic vibe from it, but I'm hoping that it switches. Yeah, if you get a chance, definitely check out that state of play. It's over an hour, but it goes by quick. Like they announced a lot of stuff.
It was a good one.
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, it was a good one. Honestly, there's even some other stuff in here, like the Star Wars racing game.
Oh yeah, they showed
Saros. They showed another Resident Evil trailer. Some of this stuff I kind of like intentionally walked away from the screen. Like, I don't want to see anything more Resident Evil. I saw the camera twist one time in Control and walked away. I was like,
yeah, that's right. They showed some very quick snippets of RE9 footage. They showed some more mechanics of Saros, which I think we'll all agree is a nice change of pace, where you can jump into any biome that you've already visited once you die, so you can just jump right into it and you don't have to go through them sequentially. There is not a perk system, but like a point system on a dial, and you have to keep it in equilibrium, so you can add modifiers to make it harder, but you also have to add things in contrast to get the bar like in the middle, so you can't just go all in favor of you and then go and you're always winning. So you kind of have to have positives and negatives to make the run hit in equilibrium. Yeah. So very exciting. Probably one of the best state of plays that they've had in years
for sure.
So it was greatly needed. We've had very, I'm usually pretty middle ground with these state of plays. Like, I'm not super hyped and I'm not super disappointed. It's just like, yeah, there's stuff for people that enjoy that stuff and stuff for me. But this was, if you think this was a bad one, you need to go do something else. Like, you're playing.
I'm a super negative Nancy on these state of plays, and it was good. I'm always like, man, that was terrible, and I was like, man, this was pretty good, man. I'm having a good time here. This is fun.
I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but it is just one of those. It seems like we're seeing a momentum shift in priorities in the industry, and it's something that's been much needed. And I think part of that is some of the stuff we've always brought up and talked about, which is, I think a lot of these new devs are coming out and giving everybody a kick in the pants, and people realizing that name alone, company name more specifically, is not going to cut it anymore. That their people are going to have to come out and and put their best foot forward. They can't just stand back and be like,
get these old fogies out of here.
Right. They can't just stand in the back and act like the final boss. It's like, you guys keep fucking around and not enticing me, then I will just find my pleasures elsewhere.
Chick-fil-A. My pleasure.
I was like, where are you going with this?
I was like,
I don't go there very often, so that was totally out of my mind.
I go there more than I'd like to admit, and I'm like, the first person to say not like, it's my pleasure, or the first person who doesn't say that to me, I'm tipping dramatically. Like, dog, it's not your pleasure. Why are you?
You're getting paid to do this.
Why are you assuming that they don't get direct pleasure from servicing?
Dog, pleasure is such a specific word.
If it's your pleasure, you'd be doing this for free.
My pleasure, I hate it. It's so sexual.
Just give me my chicken sandwich and get out of my face.
Like, it's 8:00 in the morning. Demure. Can you not, like? I don't need like the
no. I mean, it's like, thank you for the honey mustard. Yeah,
it's what it feels like, dude. I feel like it just.
Who's to say that's not what it is?
Off topic, but on topic. Is that worse than Cane's in how they greet you?
I don't remember. How does Cane's greet you?
Stupid stuff like cock-a-doodle-doo, what can I get for you? Stuff like that. Like, every single time you go there, they have to say some stupid little phrase like that.
I will physically assault somebody that says something like that to me. It'll happen.
I don't go to Cane's very often anymore because it's just freezer French fries and chicken strips. If you fuck up chicken strips, then there's a problem. So bare minimum, it's just whatever. But
Cane's has always been. I've had it a couple times, and I'm like, I don't. There's
I'm beef over, like, I will eat Cane's or whatever, anything from a chicken joint, but it's like, it would have to be because everybody else is going there. I'm gonna pick beef over everything every time. So it's like, if you're located next to anywhere that has a burger option, and I'm doing that, I'm gonna pick the burger option.
I pick burger too. But specifically, I'm talking about the my pleasure versus cockle-doodle-doo.
Some silly catchphrase.
What can I get for you? Bullshit.
I guess if Cane's was good, Cock-a-doodle-doo would be more tolerable, but Cane's is mediocre and you're a goofy, so it's just double whereas my pleasure immediately makes my stomach drop, but the food is good. So I just try to disassociate that you're trying to trying to pork me in the line at 9 a.m. over a chicken hash brown burrito bowl. Like, oh,
that's why I only get Speedway pepperoni pizza for breakfast. Breakfast of Champions.
Dude, I gotta see that new Naked Gun. He's like, oh, dude, are you eating a chili dog and black coffee? He's in the back of the corner. Breakfast of Champions.
That is a frequent dude. That's what Tom eats. Tom eats chili dogs for breakfast. Honestly, I think it's I don't think it's black coffee, but I'm pretty sure that dude he's in the gas station. Brother's getting chili dogs.
Dog,
he's getting chili dogs and coffee. It's not black, but it's definitely coffee.
Oh,
we're eating.
My God, pulling the wax ring off them toilets. He is sending it. That is not what your body's supposed to have in the morning.
I mean, I don't know if it's any worse, but yeah, no, I am a slave to Speedway pizza, so I can't.
It is good.
Alrighty. What do we think, gents?
I think we have covered everything to my satisfaction, that's for sure, and then some.
Yeah, I'm good.
Sweet. All right. Well, usual. Check out the socials on the screen there. Like we said, we're doing cool stuff all the time. Podcast comes out every Monday. We're streaming every Saturday. Soon we'll be through this Resident Evil marathon. Do we know what we're doing after that, or is that still to be announced?
I think we could get redacted rematches going.
That's true.
Yeah.
Probably be fighting game action going.
Yeah, and then I kind of saw rematches as almost like a in between kind of thing. You know, so we do another. Oh, we're gonna play this whole franchise or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, even if we found, obviously, yeah, let's get rematches going, but we could probably even find some multiplayer. Just even if like something like I'm not obviously you can't get Left 4 Dead, but something like a 3-man multiplayer co-op, something or another. I'm sure there's something out there. Just it doesn't have to be anything major, just some bullshit, so we can all hop on. But I mean, I'm definitely down for getting rematches started.
We have to do Remedy stuff too, so maybe do some of that.
For what it's worth, the Remedy marathon, because I'm kind of nervous that Control is going to announce in like, oh hey, it comes out in a month. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from them. I'm not opposed to just getting started on that in the near future, because those games are all longer. They're not Resident Evil.
Yeah, we can jump into some rematch and then pivot to some Remedy stuff here or there.
Like alternate.
Yeah, I never played Alan Wake 2, so I'm game.
That's partially why I want to jump on that too.
Yeah, I need this. This isn't for you guys. This is for me. Me and Addy.
His pleasure.
Yeah.
It would be my pleasure.
Thank you for joining Redacted Party Chat.
I'll leave you with some advice. It took 2 wipes to know you only needed 1, but it takes 1 wipe to know you need 30.
What does that mean?
It means exactly what you think it means. Well, it's been Redacted Party Chat. Case 17. This is Vaughn.
Adrian.
And Brandon.
What the fuck?
Catch you on the next one.
It'll be our pleasure. Leave that full Nelson in there.
That's the walls of Jericho.
Oh,
That is
even worse,
dude.
It looks like he's breaking his damn back.
No, it like actually will, like, if you get, it's super hard to put somebody in, like if they really don't want it, but if you do, literally you just have to sit down and you will break their spine in half. Like if you just genuinely just sit down, you can fucking paralyze somebody doing that shit.
It looked like he had tension on his lower back for sure.
Oh, he absolutely
breaking a
did.
popsicle stick.
Yeah, there's no way to put anybody in it without putting the tension on their back, but it can go from, it's like putting somebody in a fucking arm bar. You can go from okay, please let me go, to your fucking
The line is very, very fine.
Yeah, and when it's kids doing it, kids don't think about that kind of shit. So it's like we were slamming. Yeah, we were slamming the piss out of each other back in the day, not thinking like, dude, at any moment that could have went so south so quick.